Hello and welcome to or welcome back to my channel. I'm Marin and today's video is going to be another round of my Bookopoly chooses my TBR. So let's go ahead and get into it. As always, I am going to go ahead and start off by recapping how I did with my March TBR. So the first roll gave me a fiction book, and for that I chose A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston, which I did read. The second roll landed me on Community Shelf, and I was to read a book from my owned TBR. For that, I chose Daisy Hates by Jessa Hastings, which I did read. The third roll was a chance card, but I replaced it with a mood read, and for that I decided to read Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson, which I did complete. The fourth roll landed me on a small book, so I chose Dark Matter by Michelle Paver, which I did read. The fifth roll landed me on Skip, so I did not have to choose a book. The sixth roll landed me on Thriller. I chose What You Leave Behind by Wanda M. Morris, and I did read it. And the final one landed me on Buzzword. For that, I chose All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham, and I did read that one, which means I have once again completed my monthly TBR. Now, most of the books that I did pick for March were featured in vlogs. I will link all of those vlogs down below if you'd like to go back and watch them. But now that means I get to pick another reward prompt and potentially use it in this month's game. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, I did add an additional reward prompt that I just kind of came up with on my own, so I have 5 to choose from right now. I did not put the one that I used from last month back in here. So let's go ahead and just pick one and see what I get this month. Okay, I have a re-roll. That means I can re-roll the dice if I don't like the space that I landed on. So we will put that in my back pocket, so to speak. Let's go ahead and go on over to the game board and see what I'm going to be reading in April. All right, I have my reward prompts here. This is the one I just pulled, which is re-roll, and I also still have this ignore doubles. We are starting on Buzzword because that was the last prompt for March. So let's go ahead and do roll number 1. Okay, we have a 3. Okay, that is highest rated. All right, roll 1 landed me on highest rating, as you just saw. Here is a screenshot of my Goodreads Want to Read, sorted by highest rating. The first 2 have not been released. The third one I do not physically own. So we will be going with One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This. This is by Omar El Akkad, and it is talking about the situation in Palestine. It is based on a tweet that he put out on October 25th, 2023. And it basically is just talking about how eventually people will be willing to speak out against what is happening in Palestine once they are deemed to no longer potentially have consequences because of it. So this is going to be pretty heavy hitting. I did pre-order this though, so I am glad to get it on a TBR and read it in a timely fashion. This one does have a rating of 4.69. All right, roll number 2. And we have a double, that is 10. Okay, and we are landing on a chance card. This is the one that came up last month that I put to the side, so I guess that's fair. This is I Must Betray You by Ruta Sepetys. Roll 2 landed me on a chance, and it also gave me my first double, and I pulled the exact same card that I'd pulled last month in March, which is I Must Betray You by Ruta Sepetys. Now, I traded this for a mood read because I did have that reward card for March, so I guess it's only fair that it pops back up on the TBR for April. It's definitely telling me that I need to go ahead and read this one. So this one is set in Romania in 1989. I'll go ahead and just read a little bit of the synopsis for you. Communist regimes are crumbling across Europe. 17-year-old Christian Florescu dreams of becoming a writer, but Romanians aren't free to dream. They are bound by rules and force. Amid the tyrannical dictatorship of Nicolae Ceausescu in a country governed by isolation and fear, Christian is blackmailed by the secret police to become an informer. He's left with only 2 choices: betray everyone and everything he loves, or use his position to creatively undermine the most notoriously evil dictator in Eastern Europe. So that's kind of just the first part of this. I have had very good luck with Ruta Sepetys as an author. I have given 3 of her books 5 stars. I gave one of them 4 stars, so we will see where this one falls. This will be the final one of her backlist books that I need to read, so once I check this off, I will be caught up. Okay, because of that double, we are at 6 rolls, so let's do roll 3. And that is another double. Oh boy. Okay, that's 8. This is a book from my series TBR, which is perfect. I was hoping to fit some of those on this month. Roll 3 landed me on series TBR and was also another double, but I am glad that I landed on this space because I was hoping to put at least 2 books from that series TBR into my April reading. Of course, this only gets me one of them, but we're at least making baby steps. I am going to go with The Queen's Thief by Megan Whalen Turner for this pick. This is the first book in the Queen's Thief series. I did read the prequel, which is called The Thief, a couple months ago. That was a reread. The Queen's Thief will also be a reread, but this way I can continue on with the series and be ready to go. So I think that's the one I'm going to go with. I might change this one out depending on how my reading kind of goes in terms of my mood, but that's the one that I'm thinking I'm going to go with for right now. All right, this is roll 4. We have 8. Oh, now we have lowest rated. Okay, I think I know what that one is actually. Roll 4 landed me on lowest rated, so I guess it's fair. I had the highest rated earlier, now I have the lowest rated. I knew right away what book this was going to be. This book is actually on my spring TBR, so I did talk about this in that video. I'll link that up above if you'd like to go back and watch. But that book is The Divines by Ellie Eaton. This has a 3.17 rating, so it's not great. It is talking about a boarding school in England and some girls who attended there. Something happens and there's a bit of a mystery. I think it still sounds really interesting, but it has terrible ratings. So we'll see ultimately what I wind up thinking at the end. But I am glad to get this one on here because it is part of that spring at TBR, and it's always good to try to get one of those books onto an official TBR. So I'm doing a little bit of less scrambling. All right, roll 5. We have another double. Oh my goodness. Okay, that is a 6. We have a mystery. Roll 5 landed me on mystery and was another double. That puts me at 3 doubles. And I'm going to be reading the Literally Dead book club pick for April for this pick, and that is The Inheritance by Trisha Sakalechka. This one says, most family reunions end in tears. This one will end in murder. So that's kind of a little tagline. I don't want to read any more than that. I like to go into thrillers and mysteries a little bit more blind, but this is something that I needed to read this month anyway, so I'm glad I can fit it onto this TBR. All right, roll 6 is another 8. And we're back on highest rated. Interesting. Roll 6 again landed me on highest rated. So I went ahead and continued scrolling through my want to read until I found a book that I physically owned. And that one turned out to be Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man by Emmanuel Ocho. I have had this on my TBR since it came out in 2020 and probably would not have picked it up anytime soon. So this is forcing me to read a book that would have otherwise continued to languish on my shelves, so I can't be too mad at it. It's pretty short. I know it's going to be very impactful. This one has a rating of 4.38, so I'm looking forward to it and we'll see what I think. All right, roll 7. We have a 6. We have a TBR Vet. Roll 7 landed me on TBR Vet, and for that I am going to be reading Notorious RBG, The Life and Times of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. This was also on my TBR since 2020. I purchased it at the same time as the last book that I just mentioned. I picked them both up from Left Bank Books, which is an independent bookstore here in St. Louis. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. I've heard good things. I believe This was published before she passed away though, so let's see. Yeah, it's a copyright of 2015. So I'm looking forward to reading it. This is a really heavy book, but yes, I'm actually wanting to read this because this will check off one of the little Goodreads challenges that they're doing this year, because they wanted you to read a book about a famous woman in honor of Women's History Month. I didn't get it read in March, so April will be a good time to finally get it read. Again, it's been on my shelf for a long time, so I'm happy that this one kind of came up, because I otherwise am not sure I would have ever gotten to this anytime soon. And let's hope that this is the final roll. This is roll number 8. Okay, yes, it is a 7. Oh, perfect. That is a book for a vlog. Love that. And finally, the last roll, roll 8, landed me on vlog, which means I get to read a book that is earmarked for a specific vlog. I am planning on doing a buzzword vlog in April, which means I can put the buzzword pick in place of this prompt. So I will be reading Jackal. This is by Aaron E. Adams, I apologize. This is a mystery thriller set in the South. It's got some horror elements, I believe. It says a young black girl goes missing in the woods outside her white Rust Belt town, but she's not the first and she may not be the last. I've heard mixed things about this. This sounds very intriguing to me, and I know some people who have really loved it. This came onto my radar because of someone who participated in a Literally Dead book club conversation. I think it was Bree from the Locked Booktition, I think, and she talked about how much she liked it. I believe Kayla at Books and Lala also enjoyed it, so it does sound intriguing, and I'm looking forward to reading it. So this will be my buzzword pick for April, because the buzzword is an animal in the title, and a jackal is obviously an animal. So you will see this in probably the first vlog that I post in April. So here we are. Here is the TBR for April. Not gonna lie, I don't love this TBR. There are definitely some things on here that I was not looking to read, and I only managed to fit 2 books onto this TBR that I actually wanted to read. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I have 8 books on the TBR. That should be doable. I have read, I think, 12 at this point in March, so hopefully I will be able to complete these 8 books and not have to do a challenge prompt, but definitely not super excited about reading some of these at this particular time, even though I am glad that it will be checking a couple of books off of my physical TBR. Yeah, I was really hoping to fit some new releases on here, because there are so many new releases coming out in April that I really want to read, but yeah, we'll just roll with it. It's fine. Hopefully I will enjoy these. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel if you would like to see more from me. If you made it to the end of this video and would like to leave me an emoji, go ahead and leave me the die emoji in honor of the dice that I roll for my game, who were not very nice to me this month. But otherwise, I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.